They're all over the place. Get them. They're so close.
I got one.
Don't get cocky, kid.
But it's a Pod Bros exclusive.
What's up, everybody? I'm Richard,
And I'm Sean.
and we're speaking the language of romance. Sean, I've learned something to be afraid of, like a new thing to be afraid of.
There's not enough things to be afraid of that we need new things to be afraid of.
Exactly.
It's almost like we should do a phobia draft at some point, Richard.
Ooh, foreshadowing. So I was looking up things on human experimentation, and I found out about Russia in the 1920s, 30s.
So this was like
Sean,
this was pre-World War II, so Russia.
right. So, Sean, we hate war, okay? We're both not fans of, not a fan of war. So imagine you're a soldier in a war, and you're sitting there, and you're in the trenches. Bombs are going off, and there's explosions, and bullets whizzing past your head, and you're scared shitless. And you're thinking, what could make this worse? I'll tell you what could make this worse, Sean. How about squaring off against an army of super mutant apes?
Like Planet of the apes.
Like Planet of the apes. I'm talking about human and ape in unholy matrimony.
So a hybrid of the two.
Yeah.
So not an ape that becomes super smart, but a hybrid of the two.
Right. This isn't us making apes smart and then we have an army of apes. I'm talking about taking humans and apes and combining them and creating human apes.
Human apes. So what features do you think they would have? Would they be, human sized but hairy, or would they be massive?
I would think they'd be ape sized. They would be like massive apes, but they're carrying guns. Like Planet of the Apes, where they all looked, well, no, because in Planet of the Apes, they all looked, I guess, like the newer Planet of the Apes. Not the old Charlton Heston ones.
Yeah, in the newer one, they start getting a little bit more human features, so that would make sense. I mean, that was scary in itself. I mean, like in that one, too, that was where they weren't really using weapons yet. I think the second one, they start to figure it out. But like you look at like the old time one where they actually can use weapons and can build these tools. That's when you get, apocalyptic type events to happen, because now you've got these hybrids that can take over the world, and now a human is second on the food chain.
Yeah, now man is on the menu.
So what was this guy trying to do back in 1920, 1930s?
Okay, this is the brainchild of Soviet dictator Stalin. We all heard Stalin, the communist dictator of Soviet Russia. This is a story I found on creation.com. I also looked up on Wikipedia too. Couldn't really find much, but I found this story. Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin wanted to rebuild the Red Army in the mid-1920s with Planet of the Apes style troops by crossing humans with apes. This was according to a report in the Scotsman newspaper in 2005. The report claimed that Stalin ordered Russia's top animal breeding scientist, Ilya Ivanoff.
Ilya
Ivanov.
So Stalin's like, Ivanoff, to my office. Boop, boop, boop.
Right.
Ivanoff, are you free? I can't do a very good Russian accent. So he's gonna sound like he's French.
Oh, Mr. Ivanov. You will make the human apes.
He's gonna sound like a French bandit.
So now I'm picturing all these apes with berets on their head. Viva la ape resistance.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, if there were French revolutionary human apes. But yeah, so Stalin calls. So all right, let's play this out. So you're Ivanov and I'm Stalin. I'm like, hey Ivanov, I need you to come to my office.
Oh, okay.
Like, that'd be a big deal. Like, the dude that runs the country is calling you to his office.
Right, especially the fact that it's a communist dictator. Like, oh God, I'm gonna get shot.
Yeah, what did I accidentally say in the shower?
Oh no, they heard me.
You walk in, he's like, so, you're our top animal breeding scientist, correct?
Yes, I am. Actually, I just got done crossbreeding a zebra and a donkey. I'm calling it a zonkey. Or
and we all laugh because it's so funny.
No, I actually read he did actually create a I don't know if you want to call it a zonkey or a dombra, but he did crossbreed a zebra and a donkey successfully.
Yeah, but that's cute,
Right?
You bring it out, and it hee-haws, and it has black and white stripes. Everybody laughs when it comes out for parties.
Yeah, weird animals are kind of cool. Like, you ever seen a liger?
Yeah, they're huge too, aren't they? Like
they're fucking enormous.
But and like you think of like almost every breed of dog is a human creation.
Yeah, or a narwhal.
What's a narwhal?
It's like a whale, more like a dolphin. It's kind of like, okay, imagine if a dolphin and a unicorn had a baby.
Oh yeah, I remember those. Yeah, they look like giant seals, but they got like yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They got a giant horn on their head.
Is it made of ivory or what's it made of? Is it just
I have
bone?
no idea. Made out of my hopes and dreams. That's what it's made out of.
But so Tiffany and I were watching one of our neighbor's dogs for a weekend, and like this just shows you like the arrogance of humans. So we go in and this dog is, has like the flattest face. It can't walk more than a few feet without grunting and getting out of breath because it has basically no nose. And it snorts, and there's probably all other kinds of health issues that this dog has, but it was so goddamn ugly, it was cute.
Yeah, that's our fault.
Yeah, and the dog's like, oh my God, like I have a limp leg, I can't breathe right, I've got a heart condition, but god damn it, people think I'm cute.
Yeah, that's the curse of the quote pure breed,
which is basically just you find dogs that had like some like that's crazy to think like all dogs were mutts at some point, I guess, and they're like, hey, maybe if we breed these two together, then these two, then these two. Oh, now we have a funny small dog that looks like a cat. Let's keep breeding those.
Yeah. And then let's breed it with its sister. And then it just went on and on.
But they only lived to be a month old. Ah, well, it's a good month.
I'll tell you what the worst case of that is the bulldog. The bulldog has been I think fucked with more than any other kind of dog. Like, I guess that, they all have some form of hip dysplasia. Like, they can't breathe because their face is so smushed up.
Yeah, because you got, like, the French and the mini bulldog. Like, you're talking, like, the actual stocky bulldogs, right?
Yeah. Like you see in cartoons.
Yeah, because they have American bulldogs, but they don't have those same issues as much.
Right.
So I don't know if they're like kind of bulldogs, but not.
I think it's probably only a matter of time.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I know, like, so bulldogs back in like or American bulldogs back in like the 40s or 50s, there was only a few of them left, like maybe 100. And a guy liked that breed so much that he went and found every single one he could get his hands on and basically brought the breed back to life. So those dogs are all basically from like 100 set of parents, basically.
So they're all inbred, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, at some point, aren't we all inbred? If we go back far enough.
Well, I mean, kind of, but still, like...
Brothers don't shake hands, brothers hug!
There's only... I mean, it's kind of like royalty. Like, you ever see... Like, if you... Like, I think it seems like the royals are kind of, dispersing the gene pool a little bit now, but, like, 150 years ago... I think they were all carrying like webbed feet. You know what I mean?
And that's what happens when you have to marry your cousin.
Yeah, and that's what we do with dogs because we're terrible, terrible creatures.
So Ivan walks in. He's like, "Okay, so you know we're in a tough time right now, right, Ivan? Like we had that first war that went okay for us.
Yeah, and I ride in on a zonkey, and I'm like, look what I made."
It's like, hey, you like, can I be a general of the cavalry on my zonkey? No, Ivan, you cannot.
Look, it's a zebra that goes. Oh.
Ivan then says, he's like, oh, you want to replace all the horses with zonkies?
Yeah,
that'd be a great cavalry, the Russian zonkey cavalry. No, No, Ivan, that's not what we want either.
No, I have a new plan. I want an ape army. I want mutant apes. I want to see apes with guns.
How'd Russia do in the First World War? They did all right? They came out
They
okay?
did all right in the First World. They did okay in the First World War. They did great in the Second World War. They got the whole fucking eastern half of Europe. They built a wall in the middle of Berlin.
So Stalin's like, listen, the first one we did well. We won this first war, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a second one. Like, it just looks like something bad's going to happen. You know what Russians hate to see?
There's this guy in Germany. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, he's a little sketchy. He's like, you know what the Russian people hate to see? They hate to see our boys going into war. He's like,
without
you know what
guns.
Yeah. You know what they're going to get behind? They're going to get behind man-apes going to war because they're not real people. That's just not real.
And nobody gives a shit about apes.
We tell them we've made them in a lab and, that's all they are. And they'll be like, okay, perfect. Let's go to Germany.
Better than me. That's my point.
So, Ivan, is that possible? Ivan, can you make me a man-ape?
Stalin is said to have told Ivanoff
he asked him that. Ivan's like, well, I always wanted to have sex with an ape.
No, that's not how I want them. No, just do it in the lab. You don't have to. Don't sleep with the apes. What? That's not.
Too late. You haven't even left the room yet.
Oh. Stalin is said to have told Ivanov, I want a new invincible human being, insensitive to pain, resistant and indifferent about the quality of food they eat. So not only does he want to make mutant apes, he wants to treat them badly too. Like the apes are out on the front lines, and they're like, all we get is gruel. Like this is the third day in a row we've had gruel. What I wouldn't give for a nice leafy branch to munch on, or a banana. Can we have a banana?
I wonder if in today's, because that's basically what they want, is somebody that just was like a pawn, something you just sent out, you didn't care, like you could make a ton of them, and you could just push them ahead, and if one fell and died, who cares? It's not a real thing.
I think that's why we like the idea of robots.
Yeah, it's like a cyborg basically. It's a droid.
The general comes back. He's like, "Sir, the troops are starting to riot. What do they want? More bananas.
Well, give them more bananas."
Give them more. Yeah, why not? They're fucking giant apes, for fuck's sake. Of course they want bananas.
Here, let me give them to them because they'll think I did it for them out of love and caring.
Oh, Stalin's so nice.
Why are the bananas red? Everything's red in Russia.
In Russia, bananas eat you.
But do you think that's a I don't know if you call it like a war Mongol or, you think of anybody that led like huge battles, that's exactly what they want. Somebody who would just run in, they're replenishable and you didn't have to really care for their well-being. Like a droid, like this man-ape type thing that they were trying to create. Do you think that like they're just trying to do something like that today? Do you think they're trying to build some kind of robot or?
Well, look at drones.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
We have drones, which is not, they're not as cool as mutant apes, but not bad. In 1926, the people in Moscow passed this request to build a living war machine onto the Academy of Sciences, who engaged Ivanov and sent him to West Africa with many thousands of dollars to conduct experiments on impregnating chimpanzees by artificial insemination. In the USSR, a center was set up in Georgia, Stalin's birthplace, for the apes to be raised.
So they already felt like this was a done deal.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, we'll just go get some apes pregnant, and then we'll build a nursery for when you get back."
Stalin will stop and visit and say hi to his kids.
Hey,
is that the other thing? All the seed that they're using to inseminate them was Stalin's.
How's my little buttons? Buttons, you okay? Ivanov's experiments in Africa were a total failure. Further experiments in Georgia to use monkey sperm in human volunteers also failed. He went to Africa to try and impregnate chimps with human sperm, and that apparently failed. Then he had the idea. Later. He was like, well, let's try it the other way around. Let's impregnate humans with chimp sperm. And first he tried to do it with less than savory means. Like basically he tried to do it and the women wouldn't know that it's ape
Ooh.
sperm. But apparently the leader of whatever country they were in was like, no, you're not doing that. Like, good, get.
They were coming in thinking they were trying to get inseminated to have like an actual human kid.
Probably. They're like, oh, I'm going to have a little baby. I'm going to name him Hans. No, I'm going to name him Yosef after our great dictator. And he looks like an ape. Ivanov was now in disgrace because he went back to Russia and was going to try the same thing. He's like, well, it didn't work, but we're going to try and put ape sperm in human women. So we went back to Russia to try and do that, and apparently that totally failed. Because I guess the chimps that he brought back with him, like a lot of them died. In fact, I think all of them died at one point.
The ones who, yeah, because they're probably getting jerked off too much.
Should have brought the bonobo chimps.
Yeah, they would have had plenty.
Oh, God, what would happen if bonobo chimps had human features?
You see the battleground, like, yeah, so you're the soldier. You're like, I hear these guys have man apes. It's like, oh, God, get ready. This is going to be a tough battle. And all of a sudden you see these bonobos, humans running at them. Like, oh, God, get ready to fire. Get ready.
What are they doing?
Give me those binoculars. Are they fucking out there?
Oh, God, they're having an orgy. It's a chimp orgy. Because that's what bonobos do.
Smith, get over here. What is that they're like right over top? And he's like, oh, I dropped some canned goods and my rations out there. Oh, God, they found food. We found their weakness, everyone. We found their weakness.
You just throw food. Like the soldiers don't throw grenades. They just lob cans of beans.
Yeah.
And the bonobos are like, look, guys, beans.
That's funny.
And then they have an orgy about it.
And then they just walk past them.
We won. 3 days later, the chimps are like, hey, the human chimps are like, wait a minute. What? Oh, we fucked up.
Now I'm sad. You know what happens when I'm sad? I get horny.
Ivanov was now in disgrace, and for his expensive failure, he was sentenced to 5 years in jail, commuted to 5 years exile.
Where he was artificially inseminated every day.
Poor Ivanov. You don't look like an ape.
Boy, the dictator.
His sentence was commuted to 5 years exile in Kazakhstan, where he died in 1932 at 61 years old.
So I'm curious what their attempts were. Was he trying just to, like, was it just throwing stuff at an egg and hoping something would happen, or was there?
I think that was the plan. I think his plan was like, I don't think his plan was, I'm gonna genetically create, a man ape in a laboratory. I think that his plan was because his track record was crossbreeding species, and so his plan was to impregnate apes or impregnate women and have them give birth to man apes, and then they raise the man apes, which is really a slow way to build an army.
Is an expert crossbreeder just somebody who basically takes sperm from one and egg from another and say boop, and something happens like, hey, look what I did, when really it was just nature that did it?
Yeah, pretty much. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica and Wikipedia, Ivanov was born in Russia in 1870. He became a full professor in 1907, a veterinary researcher. He perfected animal insemination and its first use for horse breeding. I don't know why you make the jump from horses to mutant apes. You see horses running in the field, be like, I'm a god. You know what else we should make?
Man-apes. Mayonnaise? What do you want mayonnaise for? I didn't say mayonnaise. I said man-apes. That makes less sense. I mean, we didn't have a sandwich and I was confused why you want mayonnaise, but you're the doctor.
You're the professor. Yeah, go make some man-apes, professor. The process allowed one stallion to fertilize up to 500 mares, far more than the 20 to 30 by natural means. These results were sensational for their time, and he also pioneered the experimental use of artificial insemination to produce hybrids of domestic animals and their wild varieties. He was one of the first scientists to obtain a Zorse, he made a Zorse. So a zebra and a horse.
I like the Zonky better, but okay.
Look at my beautiful Zorses. Which really, I guess that, because they'd just be like big zebras, right? Because a zebra is basically like a savannah horse with stripes on it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I was gonna say, but that just seems like that's mixing like two different dogs. Like that doesn't seem like that big of an achievement. I mean, they're so closely related that it's possible. And like I said, he probably just took the egg from one, the sperm from the other, and mixed them together. And it's like, oh, again, it's like, look what I did when it was just nature.
Yeah.
Like the man-ape.
In 1910, he gave a presentation at the World Congress in Austria on the possibility of creating a human-ape hybrid. In 1923, he obtained permission from the Pasteur Institute in Paris to use his experimental primate station in French Guiana for such an experiment. He sought backing for this from the Soviet government. Finally, in 1925, he obtained $10,000 from the Academy of Sciences for his experiments in Africa.
So he was already trying this.
Well, I guess his plan was to already do it anyway, and then Stalin was like, oh my God. So Ivanoff's like, I think I want to make human apes, and then, like, we've made them, and then that's cool. Like, look at the human apes, and then we'll teach them how to, like, ride a bike, and, you know, we'll have birthday parties for them, but they'll be apes. And then Stalin's like, yeah, and then they could carry guns and go into war. And Ivanoff's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I just want to make it. I want to make one, and I'll call him Fluffles.
Here's $20,000. I will get you your army, sir.
Money talks and science walks. It turned out that there were no sexually mature chimpanzees in the French Guiana. And so in 1926, he obtained permission.
They were all making dick and fart jokes.
Now sit still. Just no, that's not how you hold the pencil. No, oh damn it. Oh, he's putting it in his nose. Oh, he's doing the walrus. Stop it with the wall. Oh.
This one's checkbox, not sexually mature.
Oh, why can't I get some more mature chimpanzees? Let's see. He obtained permission from French Guiana's colonial governor to work at the botanical gardens. Ivanoff artificially inseminated 3 chimpanzees, and all 3 failed to become pregnant. He returned to the Soviet Union, where further planned experiments also failed. He came under political criticism during the, quote, Great Purge, because, you know, they always have those in Russia, and he was arrested. He was sentenced to 5 years exile, where he worked for the Veterinary Zoology Institute in Kazakhstan until he died from a stroke.
Could you imagine if he was successful, though, what the life of that first HumanApe would have been like?
Yeah.
Like, let's just say it just looked like a weird human, you know, like it had kind of like shaggy hair.
First off, what do you call it? Do you call it like a Humanzee, or do you call it a Chimp-man? Or do you just call it like Dave?
Well, I think you would just call it Dave because deep down it's still a person, Richard.
Fair point. My bad.
No, and I mean, you have no idea what would come from that. Like, would it be some abomination of a thing that, well, it'd be like that little pug we were watching that you know, is so ugly it's cute, but you really know deep down it should be put down and shouldn't be alive.
Apparently Pavlov wrote his obituary. You know, the guy with the dog and the bell.
Every time he saw a banana come in, he got aroused. One day I walked in and I was like, so how do you artificially inseminate these things? He's like, what? What do you mean artificially inseminate? Zip. God damn, I love my job.
I'm conducting my experiments.
That's all it was. He was just a giant animal pervert.
The Soviet government paid me $10,000 a fucking ape. So there's the question. That's the $10 million question. Would you sleep with an ape for $10,000?
If it's guaranteed not to rip my wee-wee off, yeah.
Well, see, I was gonna say, like, I don't know, because, like, you know, you see those horror stories about, like, about like a chimp that goes crazy and like rips people's fucking arms off and like beats them with it.
Well, that's the thing. You'd have to know if that was. I mean, like, I'm not gonna walk in and just, like, all right, well,
Just walk in, they close the door behind you, and then a disco ball plays, and Barry White comes on, and then there's a chimp on the other side.
I mean, if the chimp's into it, why not? I'm not gonna force myself on it.
How would you know if the chimp's into it?
It unpeels my pants like a banana, and
Here, watch it might peel your dick like a banana.
Oh, please don't eat it. Oh.
I'm sure chimps. Oh God! Now now I have the mental image of you having sex with a chimp.
Are you aroused right now, Richard?
Oh yes, and that's what bothers me. No. Oh.
Why is Sean making the monkey sounds? It's like he's done this. Oh God, he's done this before.
This time they paid me. Oh.
Afterwards, I cuddle with Samantha the chimpanzee, and then 9 months later, she comes out with a baby. Yeah. It's not mine.
Not mine. Doesn't look like me.
Ivan proved this wasn't possible.
Look at it. Looks like a chimp. It doesn't have opposable thumbs. Nope, that doesn't matter. Could have been with tons of guys.
She's been in this cage, and only you've been in there.
You're the one with the bananas. He who holds the bananas, sire the son.
I heard the pansy.
Yeah. See, that's what they should have done. They should have just thrown the whole artificial insemination thing out the window. So you just see these researchers, behind a, one of those one-way mirrors, and they're sitting there and they're just like, are we seriously just going to watch people have sex with apes? Be like, yeah, we're getting paid to do this. I don't know if you knew that. Like,
tissues and lotion are behind you, Steve. It's no one's gonna judge.
Why would I want that? No one wants that. I want that.
You may not realize it after the first, second, maybe even the third time, but I guarantee by the fourth time you'll want it.
Yeah, they all do.
Gross.
So there's Sean. Sean's walking down the street. And then there's a guy, he's like, hey, you want to make a quick, $100? And this is 1920, so you're like, holy shit, $100. Like, yeah, well, come with me. So, here, I need you to just walk into this room. Here, hold this banana. And just head on in there and, just do whatever comes naturally.
It's like, take off your clothes, hold this banana, and walk in that room. It's dark. So don't be scared when the lights come on, but yeah, do whatever feels natural.
Oh God, what if the lights were off and you just, like all of a sudden, like apes on your dick, and you're like, oh, this is amazing. Then the lights come on and then there's a chimp.
Your eyes meet and she's using her feet to tug you off. Like, oh God, oh God.
What's she doing with her hands? Oh no.
They bring you in afterwards and give you kind of like the rundown. It's like, okay, so we saw what she did with her feet, but her hands, we couldn't get a good view. What'd she do?
There's a blanket wrapped around you and you're just shaking. Like,
What'd she do to you? It's like, it was the most amazing thing ever. I didn't think I'd like it. I'm not going to lie. My wife, she's like, the French do it. We should try it. I said, no, you're not sticking that there. But Susan, when she did it, whew.
The most beautiful, terrible thing I've ever been witness to.
I'm not a religious man, but I think I saw God. I saw God in that ape sticking her thumb in my butt.
I saw a monkey God. Told you we should have used the bonobos. Well, I don't have much else on the Humanzee experiment. But so the gist of it is, he went to Africa, tried a couple things, and those didn't work. Then he came back to Russia, tried impregnating women with ape sperm, and that didn't work. And Stalin was like, well, 2 tries, you're out, and sent him to Kazakhstan, which apparently is worse than jail, or as bad as.
Well, I wonder if they couldn't send him to jail because he didn't. I don't know if he broke any crimes. I mean, he just did what he was ordered. He just failed at it.
Yeah, it was communist Russia. They could do whatever the fuck they want.
That's true.
They'd be like, if they're like, you go to the gulag, you're going to the gulag.
But at least they did that and didn't put him in jail. So at least they had some kind of moral compass there, besides the fact that they're trying to inseminate
They're trying
animals and humans with the cross species. So I mean, imagine though, like, let's say they were successful. That first kid's going to go to school, and people are going to be like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm Dave." Like, wow, you look like
You look like an ape, Dave. Like I like 5-year-olds are not supposed to have that much facial hair. See now I'm picturing an ape in like bib overalls with a lunchbox and a backpack. All right, Dave, it's your first day of school. Now I just want you to know some of the other kids might kill you with sticks.
Why, Mom? Why aren't they going to like me?
Well, you were a bit different, and that's okay. That's okay. It's why I love you. But
remember when we talked about your father? Yeah, you said that he was a strong man in the jungle. You know those Tarzan stories, Reed? You said he was just like Tarzan.
yes, he was just like Tarzan, except he wasn't Tarzan.
Do you remember Tarzan's friend, the chimpanzee? Yeah, the chimpanzee. That's more of what your dad was like. You mean like a sensitive like friend?
No, like an
Kinda?
actual chimpanzee. Mom, you slept with a chimp? It was the most beautiful night of my life, son.
I've never been held so tightly in my life.
I mean, granted, it was because he was trying to rip my arms off, but luckily we were broken up before.
But when they tranquilized him, I saw love in his eyes. Deep, passionate love. And the blood of my ear still sticking out of his teeth.
So there's little Dave off to school for his first day. He's got a Planet of the Apes lunchbox, and
The school bus driver picks him up, opens the thing, and gets on. He's like, all right, fine. Oh, good God.
seats taken. And then Dave's like, that's okay, and takes his shoes off and hangs from one of the bars upside down.
Just gonna say he doesn't walk the aisle. He like climbs back and forth on the seats and like hangs from the roof with his feet. He's like, you guys like hangy time too, right? Takes out a banana from his lunchbox and starts eating it.
That's the only thing in his lunchbox.
It's
One
just
banana.
bananas. He finds some cute girl and jumps up behind her and starts picking bugs out of her hair. Whispers in her ear, "This means I like you."
I think you're super cool. I think you're super cute. Let's pick lice out of each other and eat it.
I don't have oh yeah, I'm sorry, babe, but you do. But I'll get it all, trust me.
I can see it. Don't worry. Mom says I'm the best.
Your earlobe looks delicious. I mean, beautiful.
Then Dave sits down to class and it's like, okay, today we're going to learn about science. What's this? An ape. Dad! No, it's an ape. Dad! No. And oh. Oh.
All right, today, class, we're going to learn the steps of evolution. Now, pick out which spot you are in the evolutionary chain. Dave like points like the missing link.
Some people go forward, some people take a step back. Dave, you're in that category.
I imagine though, like he's a super smart kid though, so he still aces the test and does all the spelling well. Is great in dodgeball.
And now I'm picturing him like studying, like he's got glasses and books open.
He's got like his hand rested on both his hand, like his head's rested on both his hands. And he uses his feet over top of his head to flip the pages.
It's like an 80s montage.
Yeah,
Music's playing in the background. You know who he's like? He's like Beast in X-Men.
yeah, that's kind of the gist I'm getting. Except he's not blue.
Yeah, that would only make him cooler.
So just think, Dave, goes through all that trouble back then. He finds a nice woman that loves him for who he is, and they have a baby. And, slowly, basically like those 100 dogs that were saved, he starts building this whole race of, Daves, of human apes. And maybe the mad scientist is getting some more created. And then like now they have Beast. They have Beast to look up to. So this, he didn't have anybody to look up to, and so he had to, force through and find heroes in different places. But now his kids have a hero to look up to, and
So
I
it's
think
kind of
that's
like
beautiful.
kind of like a black Green Lantern. in the 70s or like the 80s when Jon Stewart became the Lantern, then it was like it was kind of a coup for African Americans because they're like, hey, we have a hero too, and he's the fucking Green Lantern. Like, that's awesome. So you're saying these apes have Beast?
Yeah.
They're like, look, he's super smart. Like, he invents things for the X-Men, and he's a blue ape kind of thing.
And you find his origin story, like Beast came somehow, like he was like the second Dave, but like was sent to the future maybe or something weird like that.
But they still call him a mutant. In the movies, they have Beast as one of as an advisor to the president, Dr. Hank McCoy. He's a doctor. That's the other. Yeah, he's a doctor.
Well, I think he wasn't in the first two movies, was he? He was just in the third Beast. Like, I don't remember him in the first two.
I don't know. I've blocked the third one out of my memory completely. What happened in the second one?
Second one was
Kelsey Grammer played Beast in one of the movies.
Yeah, I think the
so.
Third
You see,
one.
like the blue guy he's wearing like a suit,
because he puts on the leather suit and he's like, "Oh, I guess I put on a few pounds," and everybody laughs. Ha! Fat jokes.
So yeah, that's I don't have much else on human on a. I mean, it'd be interesting if they're like, oh, we made one.
Well, what if
and
they
it
did
lives
make one
to this day?
Like, how do you know that they didn't actually successfully make one, and maybe it just didn't survive, or maybe, maybe it did survive. It's like the lizard people. Like right now, somehow it just has to shave every single day, like 3 times a day. It has to shave to keep up its human appearance.
Yeah, or that like he made one like finally, and he's like, and the doctor. Okay, so he makes one, and then the doctor's like, you're supposed to be used for a mutant army, but I can't do that. Like I can't send this. I can't send my beautiful boy off to war.
Oh yeah.
So he like sends him away to live. Does he send him to live with humans, or does he send him to live with apes?
Maybe he had twins and he sent one to one and one to the other.
Oh my god! And then they find each other. This is a movie.
What's the title of this movie?
Damn
Dirty Apes.
Damn dirty. Oh, that's gonna bother me. So okay, so the doctor, so he has these 2 apes. He has a boy ape and a girl ape, and he sends the boy ape to live with humans, and he sends the girl man ape to live with apes, with like chimps.
Oh, and she becomes like a badass, like Wonder Woman-esque character.
Yeah, she like lives in the jungle and she rights wrongs. She's like the Phantom. You remember the Phantom?
I don't think I've seen any of the comics or movies, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Where he's like the protector of the forest, kind of like Tarzan, but he wore all purple and carried guns.
Yeah, I think in the new the animated Turtles cartoon movie, I think they called him like the Phantom or something like that as a callback. Because there's a part where Leo fights in the jungle, like protecting the citizens and stuff.
So they stole from another movie?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the original idea was that they were a parody of Daredevil.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Because Daredevil, he gets hit with mutagen, and I think in the comic, it actually rolls into the sewer or something like that in the Daredevil comic.
Okay.
But in the Turtles comic, you see a kid get hit with the mutagen that goes into the sewer that the Turtles get into. But then you have the hand in Daredevil, and you have the foot in Turtles. There's a couple other things.
Oh my god!
From. Yeah,
I totally didn't realize any of this. And you still haven't watched Daredevil?
Not yet, no.
And the Punisher's in it.
I know. I got to get Netflix at some point. I just don't have Netflix.
Why not?
Because I have Amazon Prime.
Between Daredevil and Stranger Things and The Get Down, like, Netflix is killing it, man.
Yeah, Netflix is pretty awesome. I just
That's
haven't.
The guy that
got
doesn't
it yet.
have it.
I used to. I just haven't.
He can't part with $9 a month.
I can't. I just can't. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get it at some point.
Go to the theater and pay money to go see a Turtles movie and then hate it, but he won't pay for Netflix to watch Daredevil, which I know he'll fucking like.
I just haven't found the time to sit down and watch it. Is mostly what it is. If I have a weekend where I'm home by myself for the whole weekend, that's probably when I'll do it.
That is when you should do it. So
and plus,
excited.
the next season doesn't come out till like 2018, does it?
Yeah, I think so. Because Luke Cage is coming out. No, Luke Cage is out or been out end of September, and then Iron Fist is next, and then the Defenders, and then I think after all that is season 3 of Daredevil. I think so. Got a ways to go, but still, you already got 2 seasons. Plus, they're doing I think they're doing a Punisher spinoff.
Yeah,
somewhere
I think
in
they
there.
are, as well as it did.
I heard Marvel just signed, or Disney signed a deal, so Netflix is going to be the exclusive, provider of all of Disney's video on demand shit.
Oh, nice.
So Netflix is doing all the Marvels. Like Netflix is going to have Marvel stuff, Star Wars stuff.
That'll make it even more worth it because I want to watch all the new Clone Wars stuff and all that.
Well, the new Clone Wars has been done, but that's on Netflix. And then they had like 5 or 6 episodes that they came out with just for Netflix, which were really good. But then Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Star Wars Rebels.
That the first couple seasons were pretty good. This new one, they're gonna have Grand Admiral Thrawn. Enter Thrawn. Yay.
So I can't think of any. So going back on our hybrid discussion, can you think of any hybrid type characters that would be cool? I mean, you see it a lot in again, going back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they have a lot of animal hybrids that are pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I think that's the whole thing with that series is putting animals, making animals more human. Like, what would a cool one be?
Yeah.
I like the lizard, like from Spider-Man. I always thought that was a cool villain.
Oh, the Doctor.
Yeah. Which one was he? Kirk Connors, I think, was the lizard.
Something like that. Yeah, because he was the one-armed doctor.
Yeah. But then he grow an arm and turn into a fucking lizard man. Man, lizard. Gorilla Grodd, which was a super smart gorilla that came from a city of gorillas called, aptly titled, Gorilla City. So imagine that, Sean. What if the whole human and ape thing, what if that already happened? And there's an entire civilization that lives in the jungle of human. It's just like Bigfoot.
Yeah. So they're living in hiding right now. But
they're super smart.
They have a super sophisticated, solar powered, somewhere deep in the woods. Maybe it's kind of more like The Village. Like maybe, so after the war ended, the United States found all these human apes. It's like, listen, somebody almost shot them all. It's like, I don't know what these devil creations are. And somebody realized oh God, this is an experiment gone wrong. Because let's say the Russians couldn't figure out, but let's say the Germans did. Because when he went to that conference and told about how he wanted to make those things, the Germans oh, this is a good idea. Yeah. This is a very good idea. And they build, let's say they make a couple thousand. And so they're just infants when the Americans get there. And so we got to take these back. And it's listen, nobody's going to accept these into the culture. We've got to basically set this reserve. So they basically create a village, it's a Twist Guys movie, The Village.
My God. So you're saying, so wait a minute. So that could mean that the Bigfoot sightings we always hear about in the Pacific Northwest, what if those are actually from the human ape city?
Yeah. They get out. They don't get out with they leave to maybe every couple months they send a few people to meet with the U.S. officials and discuss needs that they have. Maybe they get to cast votes.
More bananas. Every year, more bananas.
Don't you guys want something better? Maybe we can start integrating you into society. It's no.
We made Hot Pockets now. We have Hot Pockets now. No, more bananas.
I thought you guys said these were super smart apes.
All they want is bananas. We live in a world that we've created pizza rolls, and all they want are bananas.
They could have pizza roll bananas. Like how? Like they could have pizza roll flavored bananas if they wanted. Science can
Or
do
they
that.
could have banana flavored pizza rolls.
That sounds amazing. You know what you dip it in?
Whipped
Cream
cream.
cheese or whipped cream. I would think cream cheese would be pretty good. Now I'm hungry.
Ah.
So he wasn't successful.
It
That we
wasn't
know of.
successful. That we know of. Aside from our flights of fancy about a human ape city that's in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, I mean, what do you think of the idea if they did that they could, like they basically were able to vote and they kind of like this society, they were actual U.S. citizens, but they were just not exposed to the general public because they think that the public can't handle it.
So when will the day come when we learn about Gorilla City?
I don't know. I think you'd have to like accidentally discover it. Like somebody would have to stumble on it and be like, "Oh my God, what is this?" and get away and not die. But even then, like you put that on the internet, people are like that dude's crazy. That's not real. Like
there's a Facebook Live video of a guy being chased by human apes.
Yeah. It's like, that was CGI. Yeah, you see this
totally
part where they're
faked that.
beating him to death? Totally CGI. It's like the moon landing video that Kubrick did. That's what this is.
There is evidence for a this is from Wikipedia. There's evidence for a complex speculation process for the pan-homo split. This concerns times predating the emergence of man and would concern hybridization between so they're saying that we could have made human apes, but it would have had to have been farther back in our evolutionary timeline.
Oh, we've split off too far that it's not possible.
Right. Different chromosomes appear to have split at different times, suggesting that large-scale hybridization may have taken place over a period of as much as 4 million years, leading up to the two emerging human and chimp lineages as late as 6 million years ago. The similarity of the X chromosomes in humans and chimps might suggest the hybridization taking place as late as 4 million years ago. The latter conclusion should be regarded as uncertain, with alternative proposals available to explain short divergence time in the X chromosome. So he's saying that we're too far separated on the evolutionary chain from chimps that we can't make humanzees. We could have a long time ago, but now it's not the case.
So basically, Ivan could have saved a ton of time and a ton of sessions of artificially pumping out semen from chimpanzees if he had this data. If he would have been able to dissect chromosomes, he could have saved himself a lot of time and 5 years in Kazakhstan.
All he needed was Wikipedia.
I still think it's you don't hear too many of those wacky things nowadays. Like if somebody says, "Hey, I want to try and crossbreed a human and a chimpanzee today," people be like, "You're freaking crazy. You're not. That's not. You can't do that. We're not doing that." Do you think anybody would even support that?
Do you think today we would support making human ape hybrids?
Yeah.
Probably no. I think that now it would be seen as like a crime against nature, like a crime against God. Like we don't even like we're in the era now where we're like doing things like cloning salmon and stuff like that, and people are like, no, crimes against humanity.
Yeah, as far as we know, that nobody's ever cloned a human, right?
As far as we know. But can we clone an ape? We've cloned cows.
I know we've cloned tons of sheep too, haven't we?
And sheep.
Maybe it's a sign, Richard. We're all sheep. Bah.
Yeah, that's a good point. If we've cloned sheep, then I wonder if somebody's ever tried to clone an ape.
Yeah, I mean, once they made that one clone of the sheep, it kind of there really hasn't been much excitement about cloning anymore. It's like, yeah, we made an exact copy, and it lived for 10 years and died, kind of like a normal animal. All right, what's the next thing? Let's go to Mars. Too expensive.
Oh, shit, Sean. Here we go. Oliver. This is Wikipedia now. Oliver was a performing ape once promoted as a missing link or humanized due to his unusually human-like face and a tendency to walk upright.
Oh, so it's Oliver Ivanovich?
He was born... they say he was born in 1958. Oliver was acquired as a young animal around 2 years old in 1960 by trainers Frank and Janet Berger. Supposedly, the chimp had been caught in the Congo, and some physical and behavioral evidence led the Bergers to believe Oliver was a creature other than a chimpanzee, perhaps a human-chimp hybrid.
Huh.
Oliver possessed a flatter face than his fellow chimpanzees. He was habitually bipedal. Apparently, later in life, he was struck with arthritis, never walking on his knuckles like his chimpanzee peers, and Oliver may have preferred human females over chimpanzee females.
That seems like a little bit of a Oliver twist, if you will.
Oh my God. Janet Berger herself claimed Oliver was becoming attracted to her when he reached the age of 16. He eventually tried to mate with her, and it became apparent that Oliver could no longer stay with Janet. I walk into the room, and there's candles lit, and there's Oliver playing with himself. And I'm like, oh, no, this is not happening.
It was weird at first. He started with the nipples and then worked his way down. The eye contact is what drew it over the line. He never lost eye contact.
And he sold Oliver to New York attorney Michael Miller.
Who's like, I'll mate with him.
I got this. Roll my sleeves up. Miller gave him to Ralph Helfer, partner in a small theme park called Enchanted Village in Buena Park, California, built on the site of the defunct Japanese Village and Deer Park amusement attraction. When Enchanted Village closed later that year, he continued exhibiting Oliver in a new venture, Gentle Jungle, which changed locations a few times before finally closing in 1982. The LA Times did an extensive article about Oliver as a possible missing link or new subspecies of chimp. He was transferred to the Wild Animal Training Center owned by Ken DeCrew, but was allegedly sold in 1985. The last trainer to own Oliver was Bill Rivers. Rivers reported problems with Oliver not getting along with other chimps.
No, that's kind of sad.
He was then purchased by the Buckshire Corporation in 1989, a Pennsylvania laboratory leasing out animals for scientific and cosmetic testing. His entrance examination revealed some previous rough handling. He was never used in experiments, but for the next 9 years, his home was a small cage whose restricted size resulted in muscular atrophy to the point that Oliver's limbs trembled. In 1996, president of the Buckshire Corporation, after being petitioned by primarily primates, allowed his retirement to Buckshire's colony of 13 chimpanzees.
And Oliver held a press conference and said, "This was a bunch of bullshit." I told him every single day.
Hey, my arms hurt. It's small in here. No, I don't want a banana. God damn it.
Don't curse, Oliver. Fuck you, Brad. So did they ever? So when I'm guessing Oliver's no longer with us.
He ended up in a spacious open-air cage in Bexar County, Texas, and this is in 1998. In 2006, he was placed in the temporary wildlife rehabilitator Lee Thiessen Watt, who had been court-appointed while the state of Texas determined who would ultimately be in charge of the facility. Though Oliver's death may have been compromised by being kept for long periods of time under unsatisfactory conditions, he had barely exceeded half the usual lifespan of captive chimpanzees which survived to adulthood. He spent his last years with another chimpanzee, the gentle female known as Raisin. She was placed with Oliver for companionship since Oliver's advanced age and years as a test subject left him blind, arthritic, and unable to interact daily with younger, more playful chimps at the sanctuary.
Oliver's like, "Why won't you talk to me, Raisin? Talk to me.
I'm over here." Although elderly, Oliver had access to the outdoors and lived the rest of his life in quiet retirement.
So did they test him after he died to check to see if he had any weird genetics or anything?
A geneticist examined Oliver's chromosomes in 96 and revealed that Oliver had 48 chromosomes rather than 47, disproving an earlier claim that he did not have a normal chromosome count for a chimpanzee. Oliver's cranial morphology, ear shape, freckles, and baldness fall within the range of variability exhibited by chimpanzees. Scientists performed further studies with Oliver, the results of which were published in the American Journal of Physical Anthropology. However, a full DNA test was never performed, although many requests were made for access to Oliver for medical testing during his later years, and again after his death. It was the policy to refuse such requests.
No, we don't want this getting out.
And they'll find out about Gorilla City.
That's interesting. So there's a potential missing link there from this story. Somebody had the data that Ivan put together, and maybe he was successful with that and created Oliver.
Yeah, and Oliver apparently liked to walk upright and had a thing for the ladies.
Ooh. All right, Richard. Well, I guess, do you want to share any Richard's closing thoughts on our episode about crossbreeding animals for the purpose of being able to have interspecies erotica?
Interspecies erotica. Fucko. You know, at the end of the day, when man tries to play God, what do you get? What do you get, Sean? You get a sad ape that's sitting in a cage. And that's not an ape world I want to live in. So I think that this is a telltale example of what happens when man tries to play God. Sometimes you get, a very randy chimp that likes the ladies, and sometimes you end up with a guy that's stuck in a cage being jerked off by a chimp's foot. That's Sean. Sean's that guy.
Well, if you're not with the one you love the one you're with. All right, well, I'll do a little bit of housekeeping. Visit our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're at languageofbro. Email us at eatthebeaver@languageofbromance.com. Make sure to check out the LOB Army intelligence reports that are on the languageofbromance.com website. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe and leave a review on Google Play Music, iTunes, and Stitcher.
And don't forget to check us out on the Pod Bros Network.
The network of, I guess maybe different hybrid podcasts that get together and like to get sexy.
Yeah. Podcast got a thing for the ladies.
And if you want to join our Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/languageofbromance. Some pretty cheap options on there. Like we said a few times, it's kind of like our tip jar. It's like, hey, make sure you keep the lights on this month. Here's a $quarter.
Yeah, please. I'm doing this podcast in the dark.
All right. Was there anything else before I close her out?
No, sir.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Sean.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the hybrid beaver.
Eat the banana.
Eat the banana.
Eat the banana.
All right. I'll eat the banana. Hey, when can I get out of this cage? You knock it off, Oliver.
That's not a banana.
Oh, it's your penis.